Seriously, it's in Texas.
As he emphatically cuts chicken.
Yes, cuts chicken into chunks for the testing, into bite-sized chunks for pepper hot sauce tasting.
I should have brought the May ploy.
Yeah.
Are we on? Are we live?
Yes,
You bugger.
it's time.
Hello. Surprise, we're live. All right, let's see here. So, let's get this out of the way. If you'd like to keep the roof above our heads, because it's spring in Texas, and Lord knows that we've got our first tropical depression forming in the Atlantic.
Yeah.
So, yay.
So our roof may be in Oklahoma next week.
Yeah.
Or the Gulf,
Yeah.
either way. If you like coffee, and who doesn't? King Harv sponsors us. By sponsor, I mean they send us free coffee.
Yes.
So if you like coffee, talk to them.
And we also buy coffee from them.
We buy a lot of coffee. If you buy coffee from them, let them know you heard about it from us, okay?
You're
Thanks.
going to get through that completely one of these days.
No, I'm not. Thanks to Nancy, we have Among the Leaves Tees signage. A friend of ours, you've probably met him. Smart Ass T-shirts. He's got hundreds of them. You probably need to order some.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here. Today, as we promised, is this Thursday?
Yes.
Okay, Thursday. As we promised Tuesday, we're doing hot sauce testing. We have a couple of standard hot sauces, 3 standard hot sauces, and 2 ish non-standard. So, a quick rundown. Remembering, hot sauce is supposed to enhance the flavor of your food. Okay, it's not supposed to be something to test how much of a man you are. So, hot sauce requires a minimum of 3 things. You have to have salt, you have to have an acid, and you have to have the chili pepper. Remembering that salt and acid enhance and brighten flavors of foods. That's what hot sauce is for, is to enhance and brighten the flavor of your food. You'll notice Jim and I tend to go with mild hot sauces because, again, it's not feeding a good host is not putting his guests in pain. Okay, it's just not the way it goes.
Something like salsa mukbang.
Well, I will
As Kermit said.
say there is an exception to it's supposed to enhance the flavor of the food. If you are in the military, it's supposed to cover up the flavor of the food.
Which is an enhancement.
Yeah.
Trust me. All right. Give everybody their first nuggie. All right. We're going to start out with your base standard Valentina Mexican hot sauce. This is a standard Mexican hot sauce. By Mexican, it's got vinegar for the acid, salt, and then usually 2 or more mixed chilies.
Yeah.
And some additional spices, which in this I believe is garlic. Yes.
You never go wrong with garlic.
No. So this is our first one. It's a mild standard Mexican hot sauce.
I will again disagree that you'll never go wrong with garlic. We had a guy in the Army that ate several cloves of garlic every day intentionally. That's not counting garlic in his food. That was the several cloves he ate first thing in the morning. And it went wrong because you could smell him anywhere.
Oh, yes. So this is going to be probably a vinegar forward for most people sauce.
Yep.
That's a good hot sauce.
Very mild. And very vinegary.
Yeah, and I like that.
The acetic acid and vinegar.
Yep.
Brightens flavor. The salt enhances it. Everything else is just a complement to it.
Yeah.
Now, Cedar would not like this. Cedar does not like anything vinegar forward.
Oh dear. Fortunately, we've got a couple that are not vinegar forward.
Yeah.
All right. For this one, we've got your standard Louisiana hot sauce.
Yep.
A Louisiana hot sauce is going to be white vinegar, salt, and a pepper mash. That's usually a fermented pepper. This is Trappy's. It's a fairly standard Louisiana style hot sauce. It's going to be very vinegar forward. It's going to be hotter than the Valentina. Yep, that looks like.
Yeah.
And Louisiana is the hot sauce. Louisiana style is the hot sauce that most people think of when they think hot sauce. It's
Well, most people think Tabasco.
Tabasco, but Tabasco is Louisiana style hot sauce. It's what people think of. Very vinegar forward.
Yeah.
So on this one, it typically is the Trappy is a little more orange. Vinegar forward. Heat shows up later. It's a little warmer than the Valentina, but not much.
The Valentina, in my opinion, has better flavor.
Mhm.
Because it's more rounded. It's got more than one chili. It's got arbol and jalapeno, I think. And it's got the garlic.
Yeah.
So to me, the Valentina's more interesting. Now, there are times, if I've got an MRE, it needs Tabasco.
Speaking of which, we have Tabasco.
And this is going to be similar to the
It is a Louisiana hot sauce.
Yeah.
It's just a different one.
It is the original Louisiana hot sauce.
and this one, I don't know about the Trappies. The Tabasco is definitely a fermented mash,
Yeah.
which rounds out the flavor a bit. But again, it's just a basic vinegar forward hot sauce.
Yeah. It is McElhaney and Avery Island is where it started. And McElhaney was a brigadier general of World War II in the Marine Corps.
You knew
So-
about covering up the flavor of the food.
Knew about covering up the flavor of the food. And one of the things that McElhaney did is for many years, they would put in these small bottles of Tabasco with the MRE packs because they knew people were going to use it to cover up the taste of the food
Mhm.
for good reason.
There's a reason they did that.
Especially if you're reading Army SOS.
Mm.
Well, Army anything. All right. From your basic Louisiana hot sauces, we're going to go to a Caribbean style. This is Marie Sharp's. This one's going to have more of a lime flavor to it.
Yeah.
This is where we start. This is where we start getting into limes. The Caribbean, Africa, they like their acid to come from citrus rather than vinegar. Well, though so we vinegar in it, it'll be more citrus forward.
Yep.
This is going to have a lot more. Going to have carrots in it, which is odd to American palates used to.
Come out wherever you are.
To American palates used to Tabasco, you butter.
It's also a much thicker sauce.
It's a very much thicker sauce. So now you have carrots. Caribbean, Africa, you start having veggies. The nice thing about Louisiana and the Mexican style hot sauces is they're more all-purpose. When you start getting the Caribbean, you start getting into hot sauces that go on something,
Mhm.
not just anything.
Be good on fish, but not as good on beef or pork.
And that has a very different taste. It's a
It's supposed to smoke.
yeah, it's very smoky taste compared to most hot sauces.
And the pepper, the chilies in this are habaneros.
Yeah.
So it's starting to, the heat's starting to build. It's a nice heat, but remembering I told you that chilies are berries. Berries have flavors.
Yeah.
All berries have their own unique. All chili berries have their own unique flavors. Jalapenos don't taste like habaneros. The hobs in this are very smoky, and it covers up the citrus grassy flavor a bit. It doesn't have the pure habanero taste that I like.
Kermit
This-
raises a good point too. The habanero is very common, and you get a lot of smoked habanero.
Yeah.
More so than you do the cook down or mash. The other thing is that carrot is often a common tomato replacement, especially in the Caribbean area and in the Middle East and Africa.
Africa, in sub-Saharan, a lot of carrot. The tabanero that we use, that we have at Jim's house, has a carrot base, and
Yeah.
I really like it. And especially, Hobbs are a lot hotter. They tend towards the hotter end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
And the carrots cut the heat quite a bit.
Yeah.
And here's where we start getting fun. Speaking of tabanero, this is tabanero's new harissa. A harissa is a North African hot sauce. On this, gentleman, I've never had it before. This is my first time. So if this is a classic harissa, it's going to be lime forward or citrus forward. The heat should be a little less smoky than the Marie Sharps. And it should be a mild, holy cow, that's thick. It should be a milder heat.
Yeah, born and raised in New England, so don't like hot sauces, and it screws up the nether regions. Yes, depending on what you have, you do pay for it later.
Now, harissa, I'm going to be upset if they don't do this right, because harissa is a flavor I grew up with.
Thank you.
It is, when I think of hot sauces, Texas style hot sauces and harissa are what come to mind. So,
Seafood likes to use harissa a lot, and it's good, but it tends to be a little warmer than I prefer.
harissa can be hot. And the thing about harissa,
Yeah.
much like Indian food in England and Mexican food in Texas, when it gets outside of North Africa, people tend to make it too hot.
I always eat ice cream after a good hot sauce. Yeah, that does work in some cases.
That's not a bad hot sauce. It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not, I mean,
It's not good. I mean, I wouldn't qualify that as one of the better ones.
not a bad harissa.
Yeah.
I mean, for a bunch of Texans trying to make a North African spice, it's not bad.
It actually reminded me a bit of Indian spices.
Yeah, that's a good point.
North African has a flavor profile very close to Indian.
Mm.
It's one of the reasons I'm not as big a fan of Indian food as Rita is, because I say I grew up on North African food. So Indian food,
Tastes off.
it's
Yeah.
not correct.
Yeah, Bill, you're exactly right. A good hot sauce should have heat and flavor, not just heat.
It should have more flavor than heat.
Yeah.
Remember, it's a flavor enhancer, not a dare.
Yeah, we don't have any Cholula here today. We also don't have any Franks.
We do have Frank's.
Oh,
We have
do?
the Frank's dill.
Oh, okay.
This is another experiment. Frank's Red Hot has a dill pickle variety.
Okay.
Some people like Franks. I don't particularly care for Franks.
Well, the best place to use Frank's is you're going to make the true original buffalo wings.
Yeah.
It uses Frank's.
Yeah.
And they don't taste right if they aren't made with Frank's.
Yeah.
The thing about Frank's, and people will argue with me about this, it's one step over ketchup.
Yeah.
It really is. Frank's is one step over ketchup. Now, is Tom Rogdemy on here?
Haven't seen him yet.
Tom Rogdemy sent me a dill pickle based hot sauce from Louisville that is coke rolling. It is so good. I don't expect much, but it's going to be an experiment.
And it's another thick one.
It's also very red.
Yeah.
Empty squadron.
That's all the ketchup in it.
And I can see the pepper flakes in it. Habanero, curry habanero.
Is not bad.
By the way, the guy from New England earlier saying that no to hot sauce. I come from Ohio, which is the land of the bland. Or at least so I thought until I got stepkids from New England and found out that Ohio food was too spicy for them.
Okay, so
Definitely dill.
this should be a pickle flavor, forward flavor.
Yep. It
We'll
is.
see. A lot of pickle there.
Getting pickle and nothing else. No heat at all.
No.
And not good pickle.
No.
It's very definitely dill pickle.
Yeah.
It is Vlasic dill pickle. But there's no heat.
No.
There's
not.
actually no, I don't know if the harissa and everything else burned out the. I got no
No.
heat out there at all.
Nothing.
Oh, there's no heat there.
And like I said, it's not a good dill pickle.
That was licking a basic
Dill
dill
pickle.
pickle.
That's if thing about Frank's, if you've never had hot sauce before, if you're from New England,
Yeah.
start with Frank's. It's one step above ketchup. The guys might argue with me.
No.
You know, Frank's Red Hot is one step above ketchup for me.
Yeah.
Well,
My
I would
only
say it's
argument-
one step to the left instead of above.
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't get anything off the. Maybe I didn't get anything off the cut.
You're going to make us try that again, aren't you?
No, I'm going to try it again. I'm not going to force y'all to do it
Unless, of course,
unless you
doing
want
this
to.
completely changed it.
Thing is, I can see pepper flakes in it.
No,
I can. There's
no, you
pepper.
can't.
I can
That's
see.
not pepper flake.
You might
That's
be right.
dill.
Yeah, it is dill. You're right. Because it's long and skinny. So that's dill. That's all that's there. Probably worst. Oh, no, this is an interesting
There's
one.
no heat in it at all.
Yeah, Dan says combining Frank's with Tony Cheshire on scrambled eggs. Now, that would be good. Because that's basically you put ketchup and Tony on the eggs. That would work.
I never was big on ketchup on scrambled eggs, though.
I like.
Yeah.
I love pecan sauce and scrambled eggs.
Yes.
Pecan sauce. It's if you are from the land where mayonnaise is spicy, get yourself some Frank's.
Yeah.
If Frank's is too hot for you,
It's ketchup.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the heat scale compared to other Franks, and it's low even for Franks.
he's not lying.
Yeah.
He's not lying.
Whataburger's ketchup is hotter than that.
He's not wrong. This, I'm sorry, guys. I tried. There is no heat in here at all.
Yeah.
Some people may argue.
Take it to the next quarterly gathering. Maybe somebody will be foolish enough to use it.
We've got people that I'll find somebody that can't stand heat.
Steve asked, have you ever tried to duplicate your dad's African pepper sauce?
Once. I'm going to try it again. I just need the proper peppers. So
Pepe peppers.
yes. Well, no, his peppers weren't peri peppers. They were a pepper I've never been able to find. They make an ornamental. It's the same color. These friggin' peppers were the size and shape of a marble, and they were purple with white blotches.
Yeah.
And I found ornamentals that are exactly the same, except they look like a jalapeno. They're not round. So Dad may have had odd cultivar, and holy gods, were they hot.
Yeah.
So
Jesse says Whataburger's ketchup is hotter than a lot of basic sauces. That is true.
Whataburger has two types. They've got the spicy ketchup and the regular ketchup. And quite honestly, Whataburger's pecan sauce is better.
Yeah.
Save it for Michelle next time. Ooh, that's not a bad idea. Michelle, we have your hot sauce. Okay, guys, thoughts?
I'll stick with
You
Tabasco.
mentioned the county sauce. One thing that I hate is it happened for COVID. Is after COVID, Waffle House got rid of their Cafe de Waffle picante sauce.
Yeah.
Which was okay. It wasn't the best picante sauce ever, but it was a decent picante sauce that you could get easily.
Yeah.
It beat anything they had in Kroger's. I mean,
Tom wrote to me. If you know Tom, there's a company in Louisville, Kentucky that's making a dill pickle jalapeno hot sauce that is fantastic. I killed a bottle Tom sent me in like 3 days. The Frank's Red Hot does not compare. We'll save it. There are folks that we're very fond of who don't like heat. This the harissa from Tabanero,
It's not bad.
it's okay.
you can taste what they went for.
Yeah.
It's a good freshman effort. It is. It's very cumin forward. There's a lot of cumin in this stuff. It's not bad. It says medium heat.
Yeah.
The Valentina still rules.
That's the best one we've had.
I'll
Um,
stick with my Tabasco. Thank you very much.
Well, and that's the thing of it is, Rita laughs at me because I've got 8 or 10 hot sauces in the house, and depending on what I eat, it's what I reach for.
Okay.
I mean, they're
Different flavor profiles will work very well with different dishes.
I have a Cholula chili lime, and the dill that Tom sent me. If I have a bowl of chicken soup, those go in there.
Yeah,
The
Andy asked,
Valentina.
is there any non-wasabi type hot sauce that uses horseradish instead of peppers? Not that I'm aware
Not
of.
that I'm aware of. Horseradish just on. There are horseradish sauces.
Yeah.
Arby's sauce from Arby's. Horsey sauce is one of them.
Very, very mild horseradish.
That's
Your basic cocktail sauce.
Cedar's growing horseradish out in the front yard.
Oh, she is.
Yes, and it's doing fairly well. So we're going to have to experiment on making our own hot sauces, I think.
Wally, I've never had Yellowbird, so I have no clue.
There's a lot of people that swear by Yellowbird. And I will try some sooner or later. But right now, I'm annoyed at habaneros and everything. That's been the trend.
Yeah.
I picked up a peri peri sauce from somebody, some famous Double Diamond or something. Peri peri sauce, and the only chili in there was Hobbs. Peri peri is a pepper. It's a pepper with a distinctive flavor profile. Yeah, go for it, guys.
I'm
Anybody
gonna sit
want
here and
anything
mix them.
else?
Combining all of them gets you an interesting taste.
I bet it does. Peri peri, an African peri peri will have a very lemon or lime forward base.
Yeah.
And African rhino, if you can find African rhino, the mild is one of the best peri peri sauces out there. Nando's lemon and herb is a close second. I love peri peri. I do. It was kind of funny. Getting mildly off the subject for just a second. Wichita County was a test bed for Sabre Defense Products. They sent us their pepper spray. I'm sorry, Jim. They sent us pepper sprays.
Tabasco.
They had an experimental one that they tried called Sabre Green, and Sabre Green, the heat in it was from wasabi peppers rather than chilies. It wasn't oily resin capsicum. It was the heat that was in wasabi.
Oh, that's evil.
It sucked.
Yeah.
It was
They
terrible.
watered it down too much.
I don't know. Their folks at the lab said, "Oh my God, it's terrible." I sprayed it in the eyes of a couple of my jailers. And they went, "Okay," and I went, "What?" Well, that shit sucks. It was terrible. It was a brief burn that went away quick.
Bam brings up a good point.
Uh-oh.
COVID did screw up a bunch of people's taste buds.
Yeah.
Mine was one of them.
A flavor of horseradish to her husband is now like chewing on metal.
Oh, I'm so
Oh.
sorry.
How many people lost the ability to taste chocolate? You know, it's the number of people that started complaining about chocolate tasting salty, especially the women. Of course, there are those of us that cilantro tastes like soap too.
That's
Yes.
genetic.
Bogart and a damn chicken.
What the way COVID got me? Did everybody know what a orange that just started to go off smells like? An orange that just started to go bad. You know how that smells? Still orangey, but is there something else?
Yeah.
That's what skunks smell like to me now.
Oh, that's an improvement.
It's an improvement. It drives Rita nuts because it does. It smells like an orange that's just started to go off. It's like that's a skunk.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, Japanese can't take heat. Actually, they can stand a certain amount of heat. Just the way that their heat is different. Much like the difference between Indian and African curries or the Asian curries.
Well,
The thing to keep in mind is, why did people start cooking very spicy foods? It was to cover up the taste of meat that was just starting to go
off.
bad.
Yeah.
So in places with cooler climes, they didn't have the need for that nearly as much.
Well, not only that, but and when you eat hot food that's spicy, it makes you sweat. Everybody knows that, right? When you're in a hot climate, sweating is a good thing. And then I will argue till, and not with these guys because they'll be behind me arguing, that the heat profiles in Cajun food and in Mexican food are totally different.
Yeah. Oh yeah, very much so.
Well, and the thing about it is, I'll argue that the heat profiles of Mexican food are totally different.
Yeah.
Depending on what part of Mexico you're talking
You're
about.
not
Well,
wrong.
not only that, but Mexican versus Tex-Mex.
Those are not the same cuisines.
No,
No,
they're
At
not.
all.
The
They
thing,
really
the
are.
thing to look at is traditionally what form of peppers will grow indigenous to that area.
That-
That is going
that's-
to be the heat profile.
Yeah.
If you're eating peppers, you may thank us for appropriating our culture because nobody had peppers outside of South America until the 1500s.
Yeah.
The peppers, chili peppers, only grew in South America until the Portuguese, the Spanish, and English started spreading them around in the 1500s or 1600s. Either way,
Tom says, I've eaten enough Scandinavian cuisine that I have to disagree about the northern climes, not needing to cover up the taste of bad meat.
Have you had hakara or whatever, the
Yeah.
rotted shark?
I don't believe lye counts as a pepper.
Nepalese cuisine is definitely different than Indian.
oh yeah,
It's much milder. I think it's a hell of a lot better, actually.
I don't know that I've ever had Nepalese, but I've heard it.
Yeah.
I've heard it's actually better. I'm not a big fan of Indian.
I
Rita
can't,
loves it.
I can't stand the Indian spice.
Not
Doesn't matter
at all.
what it is. It's
Yeah.
the only thing I've ever tasted with Indian spices in it that I liked was Cedar's Grandma style oatmeal cookies.
Yeah.
I love those. But Indian spices, as a rule of thumb, they don't taste bad. They're not too hot. I'm not worried about getting burned up by
Yeah.
Indian curries. They're just nasty.
Jesse
And
said,
don't get upset when I grab Rita one day and we'll go to an Indian restaurant.
Jesse said that spice is a lie. Lye.
Oh God. There is one Indian dish that I'll get. And I don't mind Indian food. It's just not my favorite. And I don't like British Indian food because much like Texans, when British get a hold of Indian food, they turn it into a dare.
Well, the British are the only empire known of that searched the world for spices, brought them all home, and then refused to use any of them.
Yeah.
I've had a London curry vindaloo that would melt the enamel off your teeth.
Oh God, yes. So have
And
I.
I thought that was a vindaloo. And then there
Nope.
was an Indian family in Africa that said, no, we will make you, don't eat that. We will make you a vindaloo. And it was a lovely, mild little,
Yeah.
it was lovely.
Well, the English Well, let me restate that. The Indians in England have taken a personal challenge to make their food hotter than any other Indian food anywhere in the world.
Texans do the same thing with Mexican food.
And they pretty much succeeded.
It's like the first ever sheriff's chili cook-off. Chief deputy, who's probably on here somewhere, or will be, brought his chili, and everybody was quite proud of the fact that the chief deputy's chili was too hot for the ladies to eat. That's a proper Texas chili. Not if people can't eat it, it's not.
Oh, there's an old thing, used to be an email thing. Ray Stevens made it into a song about this guy from Illinois who became a Texas chili cook-off judge.
Ha! Yeah, read that.
Well, Ray Stevens' song did it justice.
Yeah.
But there's some truth to it. If you have taste buds from a particular region, and then someone who's not from such a region comes in and tries to keep up with you.
Yeah.
It's like one way to make me ignore an entire section of a store is if I go in and I look up, the first thing it is, burn your ass off hot sauce.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, now a lot of people do not realize that Chinese also have hot sauces.
Yeah.
The Szechuan.
Oh, Szechuan
Yes.
is great.
Szechuan food is hotter than any other Chinese and hotter in some cases than Korean.
Szechuan and Hunan are both nice and spicy,
Yeah, Hunan is second level.
but they're still both much more than the rest of the Chinese food.
Oh yeah.
If you come to my house,
Yeah.
this is probably going to be the hottest I'm going to serve.
Yeah.
Because I was raised in a culture where hosting duties were sacred. And I am not going to make food that my guests can't eat.
Yeah.
To do so is an insult.
Dan
I think
says,
people understand that.
Now,
I had
sometimes-
Chinese in eastern Kyrgyzstan once. Never had anything like it, not hot enough. I can believe that, Dan. One of the problems too, and this is a first world problem, is the ability of ethnic cooks to find spices that they grew up cooking with wherever they are. You don't find good Asian spices in the United States. You don't find good, well, yeah, there's San Francisco, but that's a little different.
or if you're in southern Ohio and can find jungle gems.
But finding the spices, Chinese Mexican fusion place, yeah. Fusions get interesting.
Some fusions can be good.
Some of it can be good, and some of it's like, oh my God, what did I just put in my mouth?
Louisiana Creole food is a classic
Yeah.
fusion. It's West African, Spanish, French, and Cajun, all fused. Creole food is fantastic. It really is.
Greg, stop it. The problem with Chinese German food is that an hour later you're hungry for power.
Everybody at the table finished that. But I don't think we've. I don't.
1967 Playboy party jokes on the outside of the center pole.
I don't think what we've had here today has changed our thoughts on hot sauce any. We'll keep the Frank's Red Hot because, like I said, we've got Michelle and other folks that are. Hell, Dorothy would probably love us.
Yeah.
That are,
Frank's not hot.
yeah, Frank's not hot.
It's got so much dill in it that it's,
That is a pickle.
Yeah.
That is licking a pickle.
Yeah.
I need to ask Tom where he got that
Yeah.
stuff he sent me and order some more.
oh yeah, true Mongolian barbecue is fun because you can load it up any way you want.
Harissa, the Tabanero Harissa. It's a good first effort. They tried. You can tell what they were going for. It's not classic harissa. It ain't. If you ever had harissa before, try it.
Yeah.
It's somewhere in the neighborhood of a classic harissa.
Yeah, Dan, you've had opportunities that most people have not had. And does it make you sound like Ray Reddington? No.
Who?
TV show,
Breakfast?
fun show.
But we do pick up things, in our travels.
And not all of them can be gotten rid of with a penicillin shot.
Used to be able to.
I love my friends. I really do.
I'm just sitting here thinking, with this particular group, the variety of experiences is,
I love my friends.
shall we say it? Well, I was going to.
I got it. Keep talking.
The variety of experiences is much broader than you would normally see amongst an average group of Americans.
This is true.
Well, yes and no. I would posit that the latest generation of GWOT veterans have some good outside experience.
Okay, veterans only make up like 5% of the populace, so they are not an average collection of.
Not even 5%. The actual veteran population is shockingly small.
So you can't use veterans because veterans are not normal.
Point.
And God knows, every place I go, I find nothing but veterans to hang out with. So
Yeah.
it's struck me as a little- we cohere like there's a magnet around to attract veterans.
Well, I was listening to Jonna and Cedar and Rita talking at Jim's several months back about this little group that's gathering, and they're so much more interesting than normal Americans.
Well, not only that, but you think about the women's experiences.
Yeah.
I mean, Dot rebuilding an airplane, flying it by herself all the way from Alaska to Tennessee.
You can see.
Well, for that matter, her time flying in Alaska and her time working in Alaska.
Yeah. Jonna making a living as a costume designer, designing stuff.
Got good living.
Cedar growing up basically as a bush baby in Alaska.
Yeah.
A feral bush baby.
She's still pretty feral, but
God bless him.
Even being an opera quality singer.
Yeah, opera trained and opera
Yeah.
quality.
Alma, Jen Hast, Christina.
we don't have any normal women in our group.
No.
Nope.
Uh,
We attract feral is commonly used descriptor for this group. Yes,
Yeah.
we do attract feral persons, and I like that.
Really?
But luckily, we don't attract rabid.
Well, that depends on the day.
I love
That
it.
is a daily occurrence.
I love the fact that we fed John and she came back.
well,
I do not cook. People who feed me are in definite danger of having me just move in. So, which is
I'm
exactly
just-
what I did. These people know how to cook.
I'm just thinking when I was younger, I used to go after a lot of the little bunnies.
Yeah.
You didn't keep any of them.
Like, move someplace where people cook because God knows I can't feed myself.
Bam, you would fit in fine down here.
Not only we cook, but share.
She says, most I can say is Lowe's is my favorite store. I'll take a power tool over a diamond ring any day.
Yeah.
If I were going to go out and buy Cedar something, going to the hardware store is a definite probability.
I got Rita a potted plant just because it looked pretty. It reminded me of Rita. So she was, oh, I love this. It's a potted plant. Okay.
Yeah.
So I keep my eyes out for potted. We are building the Chewy Memorial Berm. And for those of you who don't know, Rita's dog Chewy died some weeks ago. So we're building the memorial berm, and I had to buy a new shovel. I had to buy a new shovel.
Well, I will say that, this is all your fault.
Oh, blame Rita, not me.
No, I'm gonna blame your ass.
Why?
I've known you longer.
I until I met Rita, nobody was sure I was in the U.S.
Well, I can say pretty much the same thing until I found Baines Bar.
Yeah, people weren't actually sure Law Dog was actually in the U.S.
Yeah.
I had somebody swearing that I was using an ISP out of Tangier.
Yeah.
And left a wall of text on my blog backtracking. It's like, thank you. Lost a word.
Nancy, you're not the only one that likes ammo and socks.
The anonymizer I used works. People didn't know who I was. People had never heard my voice once.
Yeah.
And then Rita showed up. Next thing I know, I'm hip deep in people, and I actually kind of like them.
You know, a lot of people who like to hide for a second.
Well,
The problem with hiding here,
VPN. Thank you, Tom.
the problem with hiding here is we've got so many people moving here that you can't be anonymous and hidden anymore.
The great thing about the people moving here, though, is walking in the shop and finding them in opposite corners looking at their phones.
well,
They moved here to be.
Okay, so everybody
they moved here to be
who's
alone.
here, I would say this is probably the most heavily armed little town in Texas. So,
And if not, it's headed that way.
Tom says I'm an introvert married to a gregarious Irish woman. Yes.
I am married to the tiny town Texas socialite.
Yeah.
The mother of Tiny Town, Texas.
Well, I still remember the first get together we did back in 2009 at Rita's place.
I was at the second one. I wasn't at the first one.
And
I got halfway down there, panicked, turned around, and came back.
and Dawn
People.
and Dawn was a youngster and had come down because she didn't believe we existed. And she was running around trying to keep track of all the conversations. And oh, by the way, that is also where the infamous kitchen counter picture came from.
That was the second one because
Yeah,
one of my
that
guns,
was the second one.
second one. One of my guns is in there.
Yeah.
Rita came. I said, "So you gonna put the other one on there?"
No, that was Matt after the third one came out. How many more you got? I ain't saying.
I put one and kept the other one. That was the meeting. I thought I was going to shoot that little shit.
Yeah.
Now, I have to say, Ian, you have become much more of an extrovert since I've known you. When I first moved down here just a few years ago, you would wander around during any event and say, "There are people breathing my air. There are people breathing my air." Since I was wandering around saying the same thing, I understood.
Yeah, Tom, I remember you from Pittsburgh. Yeah, that was fun.
I saw Tom at LibertyCon for the first time.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that amuses the hell out of me, and I love about Tiny Town, Texas, Jana exemplifies it. Somebody on social media made noises about being an active shooter at Iowa Park High School, where they have signs saying our staff is armed and will use deadly force.
Yeah.
and then, you know, somebody, there was a threat. It was like the FBI guys who live in town rolled in, and the entire parking lot was full of dads.
We didn't know the FBI was living at Iowa Park until they showed up. And every every father at Iowa Park rolled up and was waiting.
Yeah.
They said, needless to say, it did not happen.
You want to play? Come play.
Well, a few years ago, back right after the "I Am Charlie" thing, that when the French there was an art thing going over in Dallas.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
in Garland.
Huh?
Yeah, in Garland,
Garland.
Texas.
John Muhammad Garland,
And
otherwise known as hunting over bait.
these couple of Muslims showed up, and there was no jihadists,
Keep going. I got,
ragheads,
no, I got more.
but they showed up and I think they lasted about 4 seconds.
Yeah.
And then they announced we have 73 armed veterans. And I'm thinking the average local boys' room
Yeah.
can turn out more weapons than that.
Yeah,
Yeah, Greg, the best kind of Liberty Con and most cons is out either on the back patio or
Oh, yeah,
in a
oh, yeah.
hallway and unscheduled.
oh yeah, corners of the hallway. The Garland shooting annoys me on several because the FBI undercover agent who set up the whole thing was 2 steps behind the jihadists, and when the gunfire started, he cut and run instead of helping the cop.
Yeah.
But neither here nor there. It's Garland. Don't start shit in Garland. Garland, Texas used to be a small town, still thinks of itself as a small town.
For that matter, don't start shit in Burke Burnett. Don't start shit in Iowa Park.
Nope.
Don't start shit in Electra. I mean,
No, just don't.
Kermit, the one you're talking about was down in Austin, and it was 100 yards.
103 yards.
And he was, yes, holding the reins of a horse and shot the guy one-handed at 103 yards.
103 yards with a Smith & Wesson M&P full-size 9mm.
Yeah.
And he was mounted police. He got off his horse, capped the guy. It's like,
50 paces. Yeah, close enough. Yeah, you don't start nothing, there won't be nothing in Texas.
Well, you could start something and beat nothing.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because all the Antifa and all the protests and all the other shit is never here.
Of
Oh,
course not. They stay where it's safe.
They went to a biker bar in rural Oregon. And they're like, one of the little skinny arm guys punched one of the bikers. He was like, "Is that all you got?"
Yeah.
He didn't even move him. And they're like, "No, okay, just go." So,
Yeah.
It was cute.
the funny thing was there was for about 3.2 minutes a MSU, Midwest State University is the local university. They had an Antifa chapter for about
Yeah.
3.2 minutes. And they met just off campus property to get properly tooled up, and 2 motorcycle cops were driving by. And didn't bother calling the TAC team.
Yeah.
Just they called all the other Tango units, all the other motorcycle units, and had a come to Jesus session.
Yeah.
And we no longer have an Antifa chapter at MSU.
And the one professor that was trying to head it up ran screaming out
To Chicago.
to Chicago and then tried to sue the university.
Yeah.
Didn't go over well.
University has no control over the local cops.
Nope.
Remembering that campus police in Texas are state cops.
I remember there was in Ohio, and Ohio was much more liberal than Texas is. But I remember there was an old guy, and when I say old, he was in his 60s.
Yeah.
In his pickup truck. And he's trying to turn into the gas station, and they got all these little teenagers out there facing him and say, you can't come in here, we're protesting.
Yeah.
And he just turns and drives right on it. And there's this little girl in front of him going, "We're children, you can't do this, we're children."
Yeah.
Crinkle cut people patties.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, Steve, that's a good point. That's because the local government officials do not support BLM, Antifa, etc., unlike Portland.
I love the
Now,
Dallas.
there is some in Dallas and Fort Worth,
Yeah,
There are-
and
and
Austin,
Austin.
and
and
Houston.
probably
Well,
Houston.
And the thing about the last one I heard of, DPS, which is Department of Public Safety, is the state police here in Texas, and they report directly to the governor through their director. And you can't. I don't know how it is in California, but the number of Californians who have told me, as a deputy sheriff, that they're going to report me to the mayor.
Yeah.
To the mayor,
The mayor.
deputy sheriff.
What's he gonna do? Boo boo his lip at me?
Yeah, Greg, that's a good point. Stairstep says, same in Florida. Florida man ain't got time for those shenanigans. And your law enforcement does not support them either. Grady, oh God, what's his last name? The sheriff.
Grady Judd.
Grady
Woo!
Judd, yeah.
We love Grady Judd.
They just arrested 200 some odd in his county. with his full cooperation and support.
The DPS, and again, the Californians, I'll report you to the mayor of Dallas, and
Yeah.
DPS go, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
They had a whole a BLM march, and they were graciously guiding them up on the highway so they could
Yep.
block traffic.
Right up on the bridge.
DPS blocked the bottom, and they walked. They marched past DPS, the top of the bridge, got the top, looked down. There's another line of DPS. They turned around, and they were trapped on the bridge because they couldn't jump. Well, they could jump off the side, I guess.
Yeah.
And DPS just started arresting them.
Bill says, anytime you get a large city established, if you're going to get stupid being rampant through it. Yeah, that's
One of the reasons
sadly true.
most of folks that have moved to Chinatown, Texas, don't like cities because the
Yeah.
amount of stupid in cities is just
Yeah, for me,
Yeah.
it's just because they're full of people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I consider Ichipa to be too big a city to be living around.
no kidding. I need to be near a Wichita Falls sized city because I'm 58 years old. I need access to decent medical. The Electra Hospital is not bad. Electra Hospital is a damn fine one of the top.
It's far better than the one in Wichita Falls.
Yes, it is. If you move to tiny town and you need to go to the ER, go to Electra. The Electra Memorial Hospital is a damn fine. It's a not-for-profit hospital.
Yeah.
It's a damn fine little hospital. However, they don't have access to some of the stuff a 58-year-old man with moderate mileage
Moderate.
might need.
Nobody's
Robert Kirk-
buying the moderate.
Robert Cruz says, an emergency cities are death traps.
Yes, they are.
Yes, very much so.
Rita was a little worried when all of the real stupidity kicked off back in 2020. She was a little worried. It's like, baby, we live in rural Texas.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna get here. If it does, it won't last here very long.
Yeah, ma'am, that's a good point. We used to shoot over in eastern West Virginia at a range up there called 340. And it was always interesting because after we finished at the range, we'd always go to town, get a burger, hit one of the local establishments. Small town West Virginia is a lot like small town Texas.
For that matter, small town Kentucky, small town Ohio, small
small
town
towns,
Tennessee,
yeah.
small town Indiana. You realize that there's a small town in Indiana that is probably as heavily armed as the city of Wichita Falls.
Yeah.
Mad Mike lives there.
At least half of it is just him.
Yeah, I'm right. And
Spike and backhoe rentals.
we,
Yeah.
we are 2 hours away from world-class training. Both Meade Hall and there are several places, several well-known firearms instructors down in the Metro Mess.
Yeah.
And we got Meade Hall. We've got United Regional, which has they can stabilize you enough to get to DFW.
They've done me well.
Yes, they
You're
have.
here. That is doing well.
No
Yes.
kidding. So this is not a bad place to live. It's about as large as I want to
You're
get.
going to convince more of them to move here if you keep this up.
No. I think if they were going to move here, they would have moved here by now. I think we're safe.
Or they're already working.
Yeah.
Just remind everybody that weather here is a study in extremes.
Kitten says, Kitten's,
Here is drunk.
Kitten's out of
No.
Indiana.
No, the weather here is on crack.
He says,
Lies like a prostitute.
word of the march that they had up there got out. Every storefront on Main Street, World War I Doughboy Memorial, and other monuments had a handful of bearded hillbillies and disgruntled veterans loitering in front of it.
When BLM tried to take down the cenotaph at the Alamo,
Yeah.
what amused the hell out of me was the number of Mexican Americans Americans of Latin heritage that were getting ready to beat wholesale ass on protesters at
Oh,
the
the
Alamo.
one. He was
Oh,
about 6'4", probably 240.
and that little noodle-armed free range socialist punched him, and he giggled. It's like, oh, he's fixing to die.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a white guy in a shirt that makes Sanford's look tame. I like Sanford's shirt, by the way.
Yeah.
Pulled.
Where did he have the shirt that makes mine look? I want one of those.
No kidding. He pulled that Tejano off that kid
Yeah.
because he laughed and then was fixing to rip him in half the long way.
Oh, by the way, just so everybody knows,
Yes, they are Tejanos.
Yeah, Tejano. I love that shirt.
and the screenshot doesn't do it justice.
No.
Jim asked me when I first got it whether it was run off batteries or nuclear power.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, Tom's got a good point.
I will say one thing: Tejanos and Mexicans are completely different.
Yeah.
Please don't get Tejanos and anybody else mixed up.
Yeah.
Tejanos are the original Spanish settlers in Texas. They were here before
Anybody else
anybody else.
except the Indians, maybe.
And there is a lot of pride in the Tejano community.
Oh, and they aren't anything like Chicanos either.
New,
Tom says, not to mention all the little old ladies in the flowered dresses at the Alamo.
who will yell at you
Beat your ass and help you find Jesus at the same time.
if you wear a hat inside the Alamo. You will have a 78-year-old lady in a flowered print dress calling you everything except a child of God.
And if you are disrespectful to that 78-year-old lady, her grandchildren come talk to you.
You will take off your hat at the Alamo. I'm serious about that, guys. Please don't wear your hat at the Alamo.
Yeah, Tejano is spelled capital T-E-J-A-N-O.
Yeah, Tejano. It's the old word for Texan,
Yeah, J is pronounced H.
Tejano.
Yeah.
And they are the original settlers. And there's a lot of pride. And do not call them Mexicans
Yeah.
if you don't like having knives in your ribs.
Yes, the Alamo is a church after all.
It's not just a church.
It has been consecrated.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It is definitely a holy ground and a national monument.
Yes,
Tejanos stood with Bowie
Yeah.
and the rest of them when they led the Tejanos led the Texas independence movement.
Yeah.
They were more fed up with Mexicans than the
Yeah.
Anglo settlers were.
and they were actually the ones that caught Santa Anna
San Jacinto.
In a dress.
in a dress. I actually was dressed as a private.
Was he?
Yeah.
I heard he was in a lady's dress.
Yeah, that's one of the.
Well, I keep hearing all these legends. Now, for years, Davy Crockett, the whole thing of him swinging the rifle by the barrel, fighting off 27 Mexicans at once, and Jim Bowie laying on his cot, wounded, and
Yeah.
fighting up. That was what we were taught for years.
And there's been an effort to discredit that.
Yeah.
But the research to discredit it is sus at best.
Yeah. I've been seeing all these things. Well, Davy Crockett was whimpering and crying when they stood him up against the wall afterwards and shot at, which Davy Crockett was, I will admit, Davy Crockett was a born and bred tail spinner.
Yeah.
All the legends of Davy Crockett were tales, not reality.
Yep.
But he was a politician. That's expected. And everybody knew they were tall tales.
Yeah.
Nobody believed you could run a bear to death.
Yeah.
But this whole deal of, well, he was, that you never heard anything about. All these Mexicans say he was executed in shame because they'd have said that when it
Yep.
happened.
Matter of fact, they've got They've got lost another word. Bloody hell. Anyway, there's records of Mexican soldiers saying, that they didn't know who he was because
Yeah.
Mexican privates didn't know. The tall guy in the buckskins
Yeah.
did go down swinging. They were terrified of him.
Yeah. Well, it's revisionist history.
Oh,
It's, I mean, this is the same crap
White guys suck.
Yeah.
that we had at the
Well, and
at Air and Space back 20 years ago when they were going to put the front half of Enola Gay in. And the revision historians got in there and said, oh, well, we're going to show how bad the Americans were that they dropped the bomb. Colonel Tibbets had never said word one after the war, never answered question one in an interview anywhere. He wrote an op-ed. He lived in Annapolis. He wrote an op-ed, Washington Post, that got published. And I've heard 10 to 20,000 military guys, I know I did it, protested Air and Space about the revisionist history. And that's why the Enola Gay never got into the Air and Space Museum downtown. When the Varghese got open, the entire airplane was out there without any of that bullshit.
Well,
and the only thing that Tibbet said when they rolled him up in a wheelchair, because I was there, he looked up at it and kind of went, some bitch never looked that good when I flew it.
Well, one of the things that has bothered me over the past 20 years or so is if you look at what gets promulgated.
Yeah.
World War I, what the American side was won by the Black 189th Harlem or something like that.
Yeah.
World War II, the air in the war, the only thing you ever hear about is Tuskegee Airmen, which, to take nothing away from them, they were probably some of the greatest pilots ever. They still did not make
they were
up.
giants among giants.
They still were not the main part of the story.
No.
The main part of the story were the guys flying the B-17s, the B-24s,
Yeah.
and the Corsair pilots of.
And what always made me wonder about that, some of the most important players in World War II, especially after D-Day, was the Red Ball Express,
Yes.
which was a black transportation company.
And why do we never hear anything about
You
them?
never hear anything about those guys.
And they were actual heroes.
Yes, they were. They were driving, 20, 30 hours at a time.
They were moving
All the
amounts of
supplies.
equipment
Yeah.
that was not humanly possible.
Yeah.
Not inhumanly possible. They couldn't move that much tonnage that far that quickly.
To the
and they
point
did it.
where after the Red Ball Express was disbanded,
Yeah.
every other transportation company in the Army claimed that they were part of the Red Ball Express.
Yeah.
Because they done that good a job. But the thing about it is what bothers me is not number one, it bothers me that the Red Ball Express doesn't get the credit they
Yeah.
deserve. Number two is that to hear what's being put out publicly these days, if you weren't the Tuskegee Airmen or whatever other special ethnic
Yeah.
group, you weren't even involved.
Yeah.
Nobody mentions the 442nd Nisei Regiment anymore.
Those poor buggers.
And very seldom mentioned the code toppers.
Yeah.
Greg does raise a good point. 8th Air Force had more casualties in the ETO than the Marine Corps lost in all of World War II.
Because
Well-
one shot was 13 dead bodies.
Well, not only that, but 8th Air Force by itself was larger than the entire Marine Corps. Period.
When you shot down when your one flak round hit a B-17, that's 13 crewmen
Yeah.
went down.
And we've wasted another hour of your time, folks.
Holy crap, we have.
That's a,
I hope the hot sauce tasting was enjoyable.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, thank you for helping us out.
Yeah.
Y'all
thanks for
need
having us.
y'all need to do that more often.
Yeah.
I like having other people to bounce my mental squirrels off of.
Or our
Anytime
little
you want to
story.
feed me chicken and hot sauce, Okay, next time, stop by Rafter J's and pick up some good brisket, and we'll try hot sauces on that.
Ooh,
No, not on brisket. No, that's barbecue sauces.
I was
Okay,
just
so
thinking
we'll do a barbecue
barbecue
sauce.
sauce.
Shit.
Do not send barbecue sauce. Oh my God.
I've been thinking about doing a powdered seasoning.
No.
We've got Kent Rollins, we've got Cajun Booyah, Tony Sacheries. It's a
Who's going to do all the cooking? I got a broke back. I can't do the cooking.
I will find more chicken.
Now, if we're going to try all those, we really need to do it on scrambled eggs.
Oh, that's the thing of it. For general, the traditional thing is crackers.
Yeah.
I hate doing hot sauce on crackers.
Yeah, but
Hot
if
sauce and chicken is better. Or scrambled eggs would be great.
we bring in a hot plate, and I can scramble up some eggs while it's going. It's not that big a deal to do eggs.
Anyway, folks,
Tune in next week to see Ian rub the meat.
Oh, he was doing that under the table already. I mean,
Y'all ain't right. Be safe.
thanks, folks. We do appreciate y'all watching and putting up with
Putting
us.
up with us and watching
And
us
the-
be disappointed by hot sauces.
the chats. The chat has a life of its own for good reason. Remember, don't sweat the petty stuff. Don't pet the sweaty stuff. Be safe and have a great weekend,
See y'all
folks.
later. Be
We'll
safe.
see you next week. Bye-bye.
after trying all those,
Now I'm hungry.